she was a fairy.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video. Today we are reviewing the Midsummer Fairy Tales collection from Flower Knows. I always say this, but time and time again they always amaze me with their collections and how much detail they put into everything, and this collection is no less. As you can see behind me, I do have everything with me. We have a lot of new formulas, a lot of new things to play with, so it's going to be a pretty long in-depth review. There's going to be timestamps all around. Grab a snack, grab a drink, and let's just hop into the review. Alright guys, this collection is pretty big, a lot of new formulas, so I'm going to review product by product. There is going to be timestamps on today's video, so if you are just curious about a specific product, feel free to skip ahead. It's gonna be a long one, but I kind of want to give you like a little overview of what this collection looks like. The main color theme is the vanilla cream, the pink, and the mint green, which is very pretty. I absolutely love this combo. I think it's perfect for summer. I also do want to note that this collection was sent to me in PR, but that is not going to sway my opinion at all. I'm not required to make a video or anything. I'm just very lucky to receive this entire collection in PR, and I know like it literally is a dream, but I'm always going to give you guys the most honest review no matter what. I also do want to note that I am a Flower Knows affiliate as well, so if you guys want to purchase anything off Flower Knows from this collection or any other previous collection on their website, feel free to use my code JUDY at checkout. That will save you a little bit of money there. Flower Knows is also on YesStyle as well, which yes, I also do have a code on YesStyle. My code is YESJUDY. All my codes are down below, but specifically for this collection, those are the two sites that you can purchase this from. So now, with that being said, let's start off with the first product. I always like to go in order of how I would apply everything. In my mind, it kind of just works better like that. So we're gonna start off with the eyebrow palettes, and these definitely would have to be the most pretty eyebrow palettes I've ever owned, because look at this beautiful packaging. So again, the colorway is in that vanilla cream, the mint green, and then in the pink. The sort of like hardware or the detail is in rose gold, so everything is pink. Everything matches very well for this collection. So there are 3 different eyebrow palettes. They are $20 US each. They all come with a mirror inside and 3 different shades with a little brush that's on an angled brush, and then a little spoolie on the end. Honestly, I have no use for this little brush, but hey, at least it comes with one. So the first brow palette is called a Latte Brown, and this is going to consist of more warmer brow colors. So you get that lighter warm beige, and then like a mid-tone brown, and then your darkest brown. So you can see the undertone in here is definitely a lot warmer. And then if we compare it to the second palette, which is in the mint packaging, this is called Cold Brew Tawny. You can definitely see that these shadows have more of a cooler undertone to them. If you do prefer your brows to have like a cooler undertone, then definitely go for this. And the last and final palette is called Apricot Rose. This one is definitely extremely warm. It has a lot of reddish undertone in here. So if you have copper or red hair, I'm probably going to be passing this one to my friend who has orange hair. I think she will get a lot of use out of this, and I think she'll really love the packaging. So I'm really gonna speak more so on these two for more darker hair. Obviously, if you have blonde, the lighter and mid shade can be used for lighter hair, but I personally have been using number 1, the more warm tone. I've been using mostly the mid tone and the darker shade, and I have actually really been loving this, guys. I'm a brow powder through and through. I've never been into pomade or, you know, brow wax. I've always been a brow powder girl along with brow pencil. I've been using the same brow powder since high school. It's the Anastasia one, and honestly I actually think I prefer this one a little bit more. If I'm going to compare it to the Anastasia brow powder, the Anastasia brow powder feels almost a little bit more like eyeshadow, where it's a little bit softer and more powdery, where this feels a little bit more velvety. It's not very waxy or extremely powdery. It's something in between, so I'm gonna say it's more like velvety. With this, it looks a little bit more natural on the brows, and I'm not gonna say that my brows look natural. but they look more natural when I use this compared to when I use my Anastasia brow powder. My Anastasia brow powder, it can look very, I guess, heavy in a way, which honestly I don't mind. I feel like for how my brows are, this is the best I'm gonna get. But really, I do like this formula. I like how it's not too powdery but not too waxy at the same time. It gives a very natural effect once you brush it out. I personally really like it. It's probably going to be my go-to brow powder from now on. It just makes it even better that it's in the most beautiful packaging as well. The only thing is the brush in here have really no use for that. I feel like if you're looking for a new one, I would recommend it. I haven't picked up my Anastasia one ever since I got this. Then next, let's move on to the eyeshadow palettes. Again, in terms of packaging for colorway, we have the same vanilla bean cream, the pink and the mint. It comes in a really cute clover shape packaging, very different from what they have came out with before. It does have a mirror inside and there are 5 eyeshadows in here. You can see the beautiful embossment as always. So let's talk about each palette individually one by one, starting off with the first palette, which is called Hazel Fawn, and there are 4 mattes in here and 1 shimmer shadow at the center. This is the most perfect everyday cool tone eyeshadow palette. I loved the look that I got out of this. I created a very super cool tone half cut crease. Honestly, that look is one of my favorites. So I did use a mixture of the 2 mid-tone shades on the side as my transition. Washed that all over my lids onto my lower lash line as well, and then I used the grayish black color to deepen out the outer corners of my eyes, even on my lower lash line as well, just at the outer edge. Then I'm going in with the matte creamy white to start carving out my crease, just mostly at the inner third. It's like a half cut crease that we're doing, and using this to also highlight my egg yolk style, which I've been loving this matte white to do. Because I do have a lot of fine lines, I noticed that when I do egg yolk style with metallic or shimmer shadows, it definitely emphasizes those fine lines more, but with a matte blurring white, it kind of hides those fine lines a little bit more, and I just absolutely love how this looks. I've been using this in my other looks as well. I'm even using it today, even though I'm not really using this palette for my look today. I do go in with a little bit of those mid-tone browns and a tap of the darkest grayish black, just to further enhance the cut crease. And then to complete the look, we are taking that shimmer shadow right at the center. I'm placing that at the center of my eyes just to blend the mattes and shimmers together, and I think this is overall such a well balanced look with the 4 mattes and 1 shimmer, just for that pop of texture. It looks so pretty, and this look, guys, honestly, I felt so good in it, and I've been using this palette a lot. I've been loving this palette. I feel like this is probably my favorite cool tone palette from Flower Nodes. I know they have a few, which I will do comparisons, but I think this one would have to be my favorite. Even though I feel like it doesn't really match the collection because this is so cool tone, it's a little bit darker, and the collection is very bright and pink and summer, I still really do love this palette. You're probably gonna see me use it a lot, you're gonna hear me talk about it a lot. I just know this is gonna be one of like my go-to cool tone palettes for sure. Then we come on to the second palette, which is in the pink packaging, and this is your peachy palette. It's super pretty as well, again with the 4 mattes and 1 shimmer at the center. So first I'm taking the lighter peachy color for my base and transition all over my eyes, blending that up into my crease. I'll then take the slightly darker peachy color and use that on my lower lash line, just at the outer third. Then we're going in with the brown, and this brown is actually quite nice. It's a very mid-tone, it's not too dark, but it does have a very strong peachy warm undertone to it. But I'm gonna use this to slightly deepen out the outer corner. Again, it's not very dark, so it's not gonna give you too much depth, but just enough to give some dimension to the eyes. And then we're gonna be taking that center shadow. This one is really pretty. I I would almost describe it to be a duochrome because it does have a shift of a slight green, like green to gold, and it's very pretty. I'm just using my finger to dab that on at the inner third, sort of center of my eyes, and then I'm going to use a brush to blend that out. The glitter, the micro glitters are so pretty. And then the last shade we're going to use is that matte lightest peachy color, and I'm going to use this for my aegyo, which again is really nice because it's more of a peachy color, so it's going to match your skin tone a little bit more rather than like a stark white in the first palette. If you guys remember, I used to be obsessed with like peachy colors, and honestly this palette is like getting me back into it. I just love everything about Flower Nose's matte formula, their shimmers, and I always love the ratio of what they do in their palettes because it's smaller. 4 mattes and 1 shimmer is exactly what I would have done. It's so perfect, and this, love it. But now we go into the last and final palette, which is in the beautiful mint green packaging. I think the contrast with the rose gold and the mint definitely would have to be my favorite, but this is number 3 and it's called Fairy Melody. This palette though does have 2 shimmers and then 3 mattes, which is still fine. I think you still can create a very solid look out of this, and I do like the color combination of the pink and the minty greens. But for my look, let's start off with that pinky color. So it kind of comes off a little bit more pinky peach on the eyes. I'm focusing this at the inner third of my lid, and then I'll go in with that sort of mid-tone mint green at the outer corners of my eyes, and also bringing that onto my lower lash line as well. Now we're taking that mint shimmer shadow. This one feels a little bit softer compared to the rest, but using my finger, just dabbing that on at the center of my eyes and then blending it out with a brush. I do find with these type of shimmer shadows, they do work best with a finger if you want to get the most micro glitters to show up. I actually did go back into Hazel Fawn, the first palette, to take that matte white to just slightly highlight my aegyo, but we're moving back into Fairy Melody. I'm taking the darkest forest green, and we're going to use this to deepen out the outer edge of the eyes, and then also onto my lower lash line as well with a flat brush, again just at the outer corner for that dimension. And then lastly, taking that center shadow, I'm going to use that to highlight my aegyo style. So with that white underneath, it's going to help pop this color even more. I even take it onto my inner corners as well. I think this look turned out really cute. I do feel like Flower Nose does do a green and pink color combo fairly often. I can think of 2 palettes I think they have done this before with, although this one's a little bit different because the greens are a little bit more almost teal. I'm still looking for Flower Nose to do like a different color combination. I feel like they always do a similar color combination, so it's always like a neutral palette, a peachy or pink palette, and then like a colorful palette. But I don't know what I'm expecting. I'm thinking something more, something different. But regardless, I think this is still very pretty, but it would probably be my least favorite out of the 3. The way I would rank it is honestly by the numbers. Like number 1 is number 1, number 2 is number 2, number 3 is number 3. All of them are amazing. The formulas, you won't be disappointed. It's just more so on the color story and what you're looking for. And then next up, we have a new formula. We have some liquid highlighters. So there are 2 different types and they do differ in price. So first, in the pink packaging, we have the standard sort of illuminizing highlighters that are 22 USD, and then in the vanilla cream packaging, these are the multi-chrome highlighters that are $30 US each. Let's talk about each individual shade. If you guys know me, you know I don't really love anything liquid or cream when it comes to cheek products. So honestly, for me, I wasn't really that excited for it. You know, these are good, but it's not something I really see myself wearing, really. But I mean, if you are into liquid highlighters, but something that's a little bit more like illuminating, give more of like a glow from within. If I was gonna use a liquid highlighter, I would probably prefer that finish more. These are buildable. You can definitely add on and get like a really big impact. But I would say overall, the vibe of these is definitely more illuminating, glow from within type of vibe, which is very pretty. Let's start off with the standard highlighters, the ones that are in the pink packaging. So the first shade is called Moonlight Swing, and this is a pearly silver, and out of all four, this is the only one I personally would use. On the skin, it definitely is silver, but it has a slight warmth to it, which I feel like really complements my skin tone as well. And the way I'm swatching it on camera on my face, I am adding a lot just because I really want you guys to see the color on the skin. But if I was going to use this on a day-to-day basis, I would literally just use like 3 dots and dab it out, and I have used it like that, and it gives a very subtle luminous glow. So again, definitely a buildable type of formula, but the way that this makes your cheeks look, it gives you like glass skin. So if you like that type of look, definitely I think you might like it. The glitters are very subtle. They're nothing too, like, I would say extreme. Then we have a Sunset Forest, which is a golden bronze. Now this one for me, I feel like is a bit too dark. Maybe I could use this like as a bronzer, like a glowy bronzer, but as a highlighter, I think it's a bit too dark in terms of where I placed it. So if you have a deeper complexion, I think this would look amazing. And the thing with liquid glitters, you don't have to use this on your face. You could use it on your collarbones, on your legs, and give that shine. I think it's really pretty for that luminous sun-kissed glow. Now let's come on to the first multi-chrome. This is a Pixie Dream, and this has a flip from lime to rose gold. Now these are extremely pretty. I don't think I ever owned a liquid multi-chrome highlighter, so these are very unique into my collection. But my problem with like multi-chrome highlighters is that because there are 2 different shifts depending where you're hitting the light, like if I was to look forward, it looks like I have 2 different highlighters on my cheeks, you know what I mean? I think for photography or for just photos or like a unique look, these are beautiful, but I think on the cheeks, for me it looks a little weird personally, because it looks like 2 different colors on my cheekbone. But if that's what you're going for, that's what you're going for. Just personal preference. I really don't see myself really using this, and I don't think these are eye safe, so use with your own caution if you want to use this on your eyes. And the last multi-chrome shade we have is called Fairy Whisper. This sort of reflects from pink, lilac to mint, which is really pretty, and also like a subtle, almost like grayish blue to it. Definitely suits the collection really well. And again, you can really see that multi-chrome flip. So this product for me personally, if you like liquid highlighters, you know this is something that you use a lot, definitely would recommend. I think the formula is great. It's just not a product that I would use in my day-to-day makeup, so it's not something that I personally can recommend with my whole heart and soul. But is it a bad formula? No, I didn't see any like patchiness when I was blending it out either. I haven't tried it on top of powder. I would imagine it's going to take off anything you have underneath if you're going to put it on top of powder, so make sure you're putting it on top of just like your foundation before you set it in place. And once you do set it in place, it does tone it down even more, so it's definitely a workable like formula, just again not for my preference. And then moving along, next up we have the embossed blushes. So there are 5 different shades. As you can see, there are different colorways here, but these are $26 US each. I love and adore the packaging of these. I just love the bow and the pink on all of this with the roses, the little fairies, and then when you open it up, we have the most beautiful embossment. I feel like their blushes always have the best embossment because there's just so much space for them to do so much, and it's literally a work of art. Like, it literally pains me to touch this with my brush. It's such a good formula. Like, I love the blushes from Flower Nose because they are super matte but very blurring at the same time. They have pretty good pigment where you can build them up, so you can be a bit more sheer, you can build the intensity. It just looks so good on the skin. Like, something about this matte blurring setting powder, oh, I absolutely love and adore it. So let's go through these 5 shades because I think these are perfect for spring and summer. Starting off with the first blush, this is in the vanilla cream packaging and it's called Blooming Day. This is described to be an apricot coral. It's the most perfect peachy coral color. I wore this with the peachy palette and I think it was a perfect match. Like if you are into peach blushes, I think you would absolutely love this one. Then we have number 2, Dreaming Butterfly, which is in the pink packaging, and this is described to be a bright fuchsia. And a bright fuchsia it is because guys, when I saw this, I was so shocked of how bright and vivid this is because this is not typical of Flower Nose. I feel like this is Flower Nose take on the iconic like Dior bright pink blush, and to my surprise this one's actually very wearable. I thought it would be like too vivid, too neon, that it wouldn't look good on the skin, but when I applied it I actually really liked it and I actually wore it out and I did get compliments on my blush. So it's like a really nice cool tone bright pink. I think this would be good as like a base and then you can top it off with another blush. Then number 3 is called Ballet Fairy and this is in a lavender packaging. It's described to be a frosty peach, which that is actually a really good description, although I would maybe say a frosty pink. On me it doesn't come off as peachy. I feel it comes off a little bit more pinky, but it's like that baby pink, like a baby pink blush. But this one definitely is probably like the lightest out of all 5, so if you do have a deeper complexion then maybe this is one that you would want to avoid. Then number 4 is called Summer Blossom and this is in a baby blue packaging and this is described to be a vivid tangerine, which I would say it's very similar to number 1 but maybe just like a little bit deeper, but it still gives off like that peachy pink undertone. This one's really pretty too, reminds me a lot of one of my favorite blushes, Unripe Peach from the Unicorn collection. And then lastly for the final blush, this is called Valley Lily. It's in the mint green packaging and this one is described to be a true taupe. I feel like this blush, when you look at it, you might see it and be like, how am I gonna wear that? That looks like my skin tone, that looks like a contour. But to my surprise, the way it comes off, it does have a little bit of warmth in there. So these type of blushes I typically would wear when I'm wearing like a very heavy smoky eye or bright eye look. And I just want my blush and my cheeks to be a little bit more toned down, not to overpower the look. This is a blush that I would go for. You see a little bit of like, it's almost orangey a little bit, but very subtle at the same time. It is a really easy buildable blush, so you can really pack on the intensity, especially with this one. And then lastly, for makeup, we have their new lip lacquers. So there are 9 shades in total, like always, in 3 different colorways, and these go for $20 US each. The packaging again is so pretty as well. It does have a bit of like 3D texture on the packaging, the bows, the fairies, the roses, all of it just giving it its moment because we can't skip these little details. But with this formula, I wasn't expecting it to be like this because when I heard lip lacquer, I was thinking it's going to be a very highly pigmented but extremely glossy and more thicker gloss. That's what I think of when I think of lip lacquer. And I do notice with like a lot of C Beauty, the way they like label their products is sometimes completely different from what it actually is. Like I got one product from Flora, it said lip liner on the packaging, but it's literally an eyeliner. I really don't think these are a lip lacquer at all. If anything, I think for this formula, I would say it's a hybrid of a lip oil and a lip gloss because these feel, in terms of texture, very oily, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, but I'm saying it's very slippery and very thin like a lip oil is, but it has that glossing effect where it's super glossy but it's not sticky at all. But very like buttery, just like when you press your lips together, very buttery. And I will also say that from the swatches that I see online, like on their website, personally I don't think they all translate like that. Maybe I'm just like, I gotta shake the products a bit more and really like get the products out. Some of them are a little bit more sheer, some of them are a little bit more pigmented, and I will go through each individual ones and tell you which one is like that. But yeah, just what you see online, I feel like they don't really translate the same on my lips. But nonetheless, I do think this is a really comfortable, easy glossy formula to wear. So I think the easiest way to compare is that the Midnight Summer is a lip gloss and lip oil hybrid, whereas the Moonlight Mermaid, I would probably say it's a lip gloss and lip tint hybrid in terms of like texture and feeling. So there is a big difference between the formulas. So it really depends on what you like, but I do feel like if you wear lip oil a lot, then you would love these. You would absolutely love these. Very hydrating. I think these are a little bit more like day-to-day wear, I would say, you know, like just more like lip balm type of feeling. So the first set of lip lacquers are in the vanilla cream packaging, and these are all gonna be your coral apricot shades. Starting off with number 1, Alice. This is described to be a apricot milk, and I feel like that's a pretty good description. I will say that this one does come off a little bit more transparent with a hint of coral in there. So this one's definitely a little bit more subtle if you want to wear this with lip liner. Then we have GO2 Little Flower Fairy, which is described to be a ripe peach. This one actually is my favorite out of all 9. I've been wearing this one the most. I think it has such a pretty like peachy but a little slight pink undertone in there as well. This one does show up on the lips in terms of color. I think this color is just very pretty. I really like this one. Then GO3 Firefly. This is described to be a lychee auburn, and this one's a little bit deeper to number 2, and it just has a bit more like sort of orangey, deeper orange into it. This one also does show up on the lips really well. Then we come on to the next 3, which are in the pink packaging, and this is going to consist of your mauvey pink rosy tones. So starting off with GO4, this is called To the Moon. It's described to be a blossom oolong type of shade, and that again is a good description. It's a nice sort of mid-tone, cool mauvey color, like my lips but better. It's really pretty. I actually really do like this one. Then we have GO5 Freesia, which this is described to be a candy pink, and this is the one that I was so disappointed in because looking at the swatches, I thought this one was going to be my favorite shade, but when it's swatched, it does have more of that transparency and a slight tint of pink. So for me on my lips, I really don't see all of that pinky color. It's a bit more sheer. So that I don't really love, which is sad because I thought the color would be so pretty. But then we come on to GO6, which is called Blue Bell, and this is described to be a cool mauve. I would say it's a little bit brighter to be like mauvey. Like I do see a bit more pink in there, but I do think it's pretty. It does show up a little bit more on my lips. And then for the final 3, these are in the mint green packaging, and this is going to consist of your nudish brown shade. So the first shade is GO7 Lullaby. I don't know why, but this name, it literally looks like GOT7, and one of my favorite songs from them is Lullaby, and it's in the green packaging. You're not telling me this wasn't inspired by them? I don't know. But anyway, this is described to be a almond nude, and I would say it actually comes off a little bit more peachy rather than like a nude brownish color. But then we come on to GO8, which is called a Mystery Island. This is another one that I find comes off a little bit more transparent, and then it has that slight tint of caramel brown. So a little bit more sheer for my liking. But then the last and final shade, this is Dream Voyager. It's described to be a mahogany rose. I think that is a good description, a little bit deeper with a more burnt orange undertone to it. So those were the lip lacquers swatch. I'll do a few comparisons for you as well if you want to see the color comparisons, but I do think this formula is very different. I actually really like it. I don't think it would be for everyone because I do feel like it could be a little bit too oily for some. I have really dry lips, so anything very hydrating and very easy to wear. I really do like. The only thing I don't like about this packaging though is that the wand is very flimsy, so putting this back in, sometimes I feel like I'm gonna snap this wand a little bit, but other than that, I really do like it, besides the few shades that I was a bit disappointed in. I am swirling it, I am mixing it, I even shook all the shades as well. But even so, for those specific shades that I mentioned, it's still giving that more sheer oily effect, more transparent looking. So that was all of the makeup, but we actually do have one more product. This is their cleansing balm. This is probably the most beautiful cleansing balm I own. It even comes with a little spoon as well, which is super cute. This is 35 USD, which is a lot for a cleansing balm, but I mean, when you look at the packaging, it feels really heavy too, and with this formula, you definitely don't need a lot. You really don't. Like this scoop is enough. Like this little scoop here is more than enough because it's super buttery. Like it really does mount down. So again, don't need a lot of this. It will last you a while. I think in the beginning I did take a little too much, but it really does a good job of taking off all your makeup, mascara. I also noticed that with this cleansing balm, I feel like all cleansing balm is going to like blur my vision a little bit because I am really getting in there. But with this one, it does blur my vision a little, but not as intensely as others. Some other cleansing balm, I'm like, oh girl, am I gonna lose my vision today? But this one is not so bad. It does have a very slight sort of tangerine scent to it, and my skin doesn't feel stripped down after using it. So honestly, Flower Nose, are we gonna see skincare soon? Because this one, not bad. To start off, I actually really do like this. But to wrap everything up, there is a few more products in this collection. So we do have 2 perfumes. This was the only thing that I did not get in the collection, but there are 2 that are $50 US each. I think the notes of them sound so good. I love like spring summer scents, so these definitely sound up my alley. Even the bottle as well is very beautiful. I'm gonna try and see if I can get these and if they will ship to New Zealand or not. There are also the handheld mirrors as well, which are $25 US each. There are 3 shades, like I've been mentioning, the mint, the vanilla, and the pink, and they are a little bit more heart shaped with the rose gold. Is it rose gold? I feel like this is actually more like pink, more pink metal, which is really beautiful. I mean, you guys know how much I love their handheld mirrors, and the quality always feels amazing. Then we do have a hairbrush as well. This is $20. Very sturdy hairbrush. Honestly, really do like this. I think, again, this is the most prettiest hairbrush I'm ever going to own. We of course have the blush brushes. These usually are all the same. Some of them are on an angle, some of them are not, but this one does have a slight angle. The only difference between a lot of them is if the handle is jelly or if it's opaque, and then just the embossment on the root of the brush is different. It's different to each collection. We have the white, and then we have the pink with the pink embossment with the butterfly and fairy. Very pretty. I actually really do like these brushes. They're not the most softest brush, but they do apply their blushes on really well. So I really do enjoy these, but you don't need these. All the brushes are the same, just different embossment. And then I guess lastly in the collection are these 2 little hair clips. We first have one in all pink, and then another one in a gold with the white in the center with the butterflies on the side. Very pretty. I kind of wish they would just sell them in a set because it feels a bit odd just wearing like one on each side, you know what I mean? But with that being said, guys, that essentially is the full collection. I do have the dresser that I want to show you as well. So this dresser you can only purchase if you are buying the entire collection, which the entire collection with the perfume is $845, and then without is $745. But that is the only way you can get the dresser. I wish Flower Nose would release the dresser on its own, but I'm sure they have limited stock on it or something like that. But this dresser, I will say in terms of quality, is probably the best dresser they have done so far, because with all of the other dressers I've noticed, it's really hard to pull out the drawers. They are a little bit like stiff, but this these drawers pull out really easily. It probably is just due to the material. This one, I don't know what material this is, like is it plastic? But in terms of storage, I do prefer, I would say Swan Ballet is probably my favorite one for storage. This one is not like in drawers, you just have these 3 drawers here and then the top one that opens up that is clear, but it's still very, very pretty. A lot of amazing little details to the dresser, so I will say they are always constantly improving. I think the first dresser I got was the Chocolate Wonder Shop. The drawers don't pull out as smoothly, whereas this is so smooth and the quality and everything about this is really great. With that being said, guys, that is the full Flower Nodes Midsummer Fairy Tales collection. I truly do hope you guys found this video helpful, where it was my review, the comparisons, or even the looks. I really do hope you guys found it helpful. I know it was a lot for me. I had to take a few breaks in between filming everything. But with that being said, if you guys did find the video helpful, it would mean so much if you could give the video a thumbs up. My Flower Nose reviews takes a couple of weeks to just film, and let alone to plan and edit, that's extra. So if you could give a thumbs up for me, I'd appreciate it so much. Let me know your thoughts down below on the collection. Have you guys picked anything up? Are you going to pick up anything now? Let me know down below. I would love to hear. Thank you so much as always for watching. I really do appreciate it. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!